Ever wondered how to turn life's sour lemons into sweet lemonade? Join us today as Heather Wanninger shares her story from personal loss and depression to building a thriving photography business against the odd. Find inspiration and motivation to take your entrepreneurial leap. Hi, and welcome to the Scenic Route podcast, where we believe in embracing life's journey with purpose, curiosity, and a bit of potty humor. I'm Jen, a sociologist, someone's uncool mom, and I'm always looking out for that perfect slice of gluten-free rhubarb pie. Every week, I get the joy of sitting down with dreamers and doers who dare to take the road less traveled in pursuit of their own magic. Together, we dive into the inspiring stories of soulful entrepreneurs and visionary leaders who boldly share their beliefs, lessons, and fuck-ups. Excited? So am I. You're exactly where you're meant to be. And now, let's take this conversation off the beaten track. After suddenly becoming a single mom to 3 boys under the age of 6, Heather Wanninger took the scariest jump into entrepreneurship as a full-time photographer and photography coach, knowing she had to sink or swim. After 10 years, she's built a multi-six-figure business and has turned her lemons into sweet lemonade. Now she's on a mission to help other full-time photographers make the move from $500 sessions to $5,000 sessions so they can live life on their own terms. Heather, welcome to the Scenic Route podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure. So for anyone who's listening in today and who doesn't know you, can you please briefly walk us through your story? Like how you started? How you got like the Heather you are today, like the crossroads, the gossip, the hot tea. Give it all.
give hot tea. I don't know how much time we have and how far we want to go back.
Oh, well,
I think I could be about it today. I was born. I love it.
It's a juicy story. I'm here for it.
That's fantastic. So the biggest pieces of my life and like the story were more in my adult life. One thing from a childhood that really kind of helped begin like tell the story of where I ended up and was from my dad. So my dad was killed in a farm accident when I was in high school. And now I can look back and see all the traits and the qualities and the characteristics that I have in him, even though I haven't, it was 13. I had 13 years of him, that was it. But to look now, and my mom will tell me, she's like, man, you've got so many great qualities in your dad.
That's so beautiful.
And I'm like, I do. And I look at my mom like, and don't discount yourself because there's a lot of great things of her that I have of me too, to get me to where I'm at. And so, I bring that up because a lot of the story of my life, and I was a stay-at-home mom. I've got they were young at the time, 3 boys, and stay-at-home mom, and life turned upside down. And I ended up getting a divorce from someone, that we married thinking that was going to be our forever story. And it was not. There were things about him that as the further along we got that we realized this isn't good. It isn't healthy. We're separating, not working out, having an affair. There were some other things. No, just not working out. And that life fell apart. I crumbled. There was depression. I mean, there's probably the first 18 months, I was hardly out of bed aside from when my boys were home. I got them up, took them to school, came home. It was sleeping. It's all I could do to function. It was like a semi hit me right on. Right. And to see what I've grown and done now is so cool. And the thing that people, sometimes will say, well, divorce or death, you're talking about those things. My mom has said, she's like, Heather, your dad dying was harder for me to see and to be a part of, to witness than watching you go through the divorce. And I'm like, really? Because man, would love to have had dad here. And she said, yeah, but, and this could get me emotional even thinking about it. She's like, she said, your dad, I loved him to the day he died. And he loved me until the day that he died. And you didn't get that gift, Heather. You missed out on that gift. And so, yes, there was lots of lemons in the mess of my divorce. And those things helped me become stronger to be able to create the business that I have and have 3 healthy boys that are now college age and living a great life and to be able to go and travel and just, it's a grand life. It really is.
But that's right. Like it always sounds like a cheesy Pinterest quote, but it's kind of like there's always light and dark, right? And sometimes we kind of like need the dark to realize, hey, actually life is pretty awesome and we're doing great. And like not saying, well, I don't know, 24 like
24 hours every day, every single day of every week is fantastic. But like the bottom line is, right? There's still things that we're like, ugh, but the bottom line, like, I'm curious though, like how, like, I mean, I get that. So like, we're going back to you were the word to treat young boys. I only got one. I'm like, hallelujah. He's 3.5 now. Now I'm like, oh my God. No.
I got 3 under the age of 4, so I kept hopping for a while.
You're a saint superwoman merged into everything. Dear Lord. Well, like, I mean, yeah, boys, I don't know, when they're I know now where they're called teenagers because, but it's also kind of cool because it's the age where they kind of like really start to show their own personalities and like answer, like really have conversations with you. They're not always conversations like we're already having conversations where I'm not want to have, but
yeah, they're pretty brutally honest, aren't they?
Oh yeah, like the other day, and we're getting a bit off topic, but it's fine. Like the other day, I was cutting apples for his snack, and he was coming into the kitchen. He was looking at me. He was looking at the apples. He was looking at me. They said, Mama, yesterday, the apple slices were prettier. They were more even. And I'm like, oh, get lost. Seriously, get lost. Like, go. Like, you could just be thankful that I'm actually cutting you apple slices. Seriously.
Absolutely.
But like he said, it's such a like that sweet little boy where you're like, I gotta be mad at him, but I'm like,
right.
Yeah.
Totally innocent. Like he was just stating, in his mind, he's stating a fact.
Oh, yeah, of course. But I mean, he was right. He was right. I mean, they were like wonky all over the place because I was just rushing it. I mean, that's what you get when you rush me. And of course, my mom's like, well, karma's a bitch. And I'm like, okay, got it. But so like, let's go back to like kind of like your like your dark phase and like how did you kind of like pick yourself up and started putting the pieces back together?
I always had a great support system around me, and that's something that I never took for granted. I was very thankful for that from my mom, from other family, from friends, even from people that were like clients. There was like just getting to meet these people, right? There was clients in my life that I was just starting this business, and even they were there to support and encourage and, push a little bit more, and encourage you to do things. And so that's one of the blessings with this business is when I started it, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do photography. I didn't. I know. And clients are funny. They're probably like, they're like, what? No, I didn't want to. My job was a stay-at-home mom. That is the only title I wanted for the rest of my life.
Yeah. They're like, okay, cool. I do kind of photography because it pays the bill.
Right. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll do something. And one of my friends, she's like, yes, you need to do this. I'm like, okay. So I went out and took pictures, $50 for the first session. And, every time they come up in my Facebook memories, I'm like, oh, wow. I'm glad that those were there since then. Right. But what I quickly found is that photography, thankfully, other people knew. I mean, I've always loved taking pictures, but never dreamed I could make it a business because of the person that I chose to listen to for so many years in my adult life. I believed that I wasn't smart enough, good enough, capable enough. Who am I to think I could run a business? Who am I to think I could actually?
Was it the ex-husband?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, I have all those feelings. So who am I to do this? Well, thankfully, someone else saw, you're like, you need to do this. You got a gift. You got a talent. And that, as I would start taking pictures, I could, through the day, like when my kids were at school, would hardly get out of bed early on. But I would be forced. I would have to leave the house. I would have to go take these stupid pictures. And kind of like my feelings, right? I'm like, these stupid pictures.
So it's kind of like a rebel bitch. Like, I don't want to get out, but I've got to get these stupid pictures.
No, I got to go do this. And that hour or half hour, whatever time we were spending with them, by the time I was done, it filled me up so much. Like I could feel a little bit of that happiness coming back. I could feel pieces of me that I didn't know had been gone.
Yeah.
And
that's beautiful.
It was a beautiful thing to be able to empower them, to have them have a great experience. But honestly, in those early days, they were giving me a bigger gift than what I could have given them. Regardless of what they would say, it was even more back to me. And so that was a huge piece, is just kind of just taking that step, taking one step, taking a baby step, crawling, just inching, doing something and having that action. And that really did help.
Yeah. I feel there's so much like beauty and wisdom in that, right? Like sometimes when we think of like entrepreneurship and the start of it all, like, I mean, we're stopped believing overnight successes because we're smart. And like, it's really about the willingness to go slow and do baby steps and do things that maybe you don't want to do, right? Maybe it's, I don't know, you didn't want to go out of bed, or you didn't want to charge only $50 for it, or whatever it is, right? Like you wanted to stay at home. It's just kind of like just inching and stretching that muscle. And especially what I feel when you're been told for so long that you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes, blah, 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 blah. You always you have to retrain. It's kind of like a muscle. You have to retrain your self-belief again and be like, no, actually, I did this job. Clients were happy. They paid me. I can do this. Kind of like work your way up, or work your way towards, not up, but work your way towards whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm curious, was there like what's the early, in your business, what was kind of like the biggest decision you've made in your business, and why was it such a big deal?
The first biggest decision was just saying, I'm a photographer,
Yeah, like really identifying with like, hey, yes, I'm like a photographer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, talk about imposter syndrome just coming from every direction. Like, who are you to talk about? Look, no photographer. I mean, people would even ask what I do, and it was a battle of, no, I'm not really sure. I stay at home with my boys.
I take pictures, or what do you say?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
And so what happened that you kind of like started owning, I'm a photographer? Take it on.
Yeah, I sent an email. So I sent an email. This is what, 12 years ago. So sent an email to about 50 of my people that were on that, friends and acquaintances that are around in the area. And I made a professional email that said, I'm starting a photography business. I am starting to charge, doing all these things. I'm like, other Wanninger photography, this, that, and announced it. That seriously was a very scary thing. And that listening to it now, it kind of makes me laugh that there could be so much fear around it. But I think that's where we get back to that whole taking small steps, just taking small action. Yeah. If it's something that excites you, that lights you up, if you feel it's your passion, or feel like something you're meant to do, just take little steps, because that email alone was terrifying. I raced to the bathroom after I sent that email, because I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't.
How long did that email stay in your draft folder before you hit send?
Oh, no, it hit send right away, because I knew. I'm like, now or never. And now it was now or never. We are going and we're committing to it. And the response was great, right? I mean, I think so many times we can play up in our minds very quickly, all the negative. Oh, here's all the things that could go wrong. Yeah. Right? And exercises that really help me is just right now, okay, what's the worst case scenario, right? Because our brains are our brain is set to keep us safe, right? We want to be safe. Yeah. If we touch something hot, it's sending neurons to the brain. No, don't touch that. Don't do it. And if we don't determine what's the best case scenario, worst case scenario of things, our mind will determine the worst. And it'll be like, run, you're going to die. You're feeling scared. Go. Right? All right. That's certainly not going to happen with an email, but my feelings and emotions around it, it felt pretty darn close. But if you think, okay, what's the worst case scenario? I send this email. What happened? No one responds. What's the worst case scenario? Someone says, no, they're not interested. Okay. Can I keep on going? Yes. Even if they say that, I'm not going to die. What's best case scenario? Someone says yes. If someone says yes, I get to go and do something that excites me. I get to create beautiful pictures and freeze a moment of time for people. I get to be able to do something else fun with my kids. I get to, right? And then you start looking at the pros and cons, like, okay, just go. Let's jump. And so that's really helped me. But that was actually one of the scariest things that I've done in my business. And anytime I choose to level up.
Oh yeah. Like that's the beauty of being in business, the beauty and the curse, right? Like it's always, there will always be hard moments. And you're like, oh, darn. That's really, now I need some really, I kind of like, put my big girl pants on.
Yes. What I love about it, though, is that when you have had those feelings and that email that was scary, and the next time that I created something and offered an opportunity that was new to a client and this, And when you get those yeses, the next time when you feel like you're reaching an obstacle, that's like, oh, I got to move. I can't believe I'm going to do it. Look back. Look at you've got proof that you're capable, smart enough, amazing, and all these things, because you've had all this already.
No.
And so always looking back, is really great to be able to see that, to give you encouragement to take that next scary step.
Yes, that you're touching on such an important point, right? Because I see so many clients as well who go like, okay, cool, I did that. And they're kind of like rushing to the next thing, which is cool. But you always kind of like got to take a moment to celebrate your success and to really like anchor it in, because that way you can draw from it again when you're like, shit, I want to do something really scary and I don't know. So you can be like, hey, actually, I remembered how good it felt like when I got the yes, to kind of like help you take the leap and be like, ooh, yeah, okay. But if you don't really take the time to anchor it in, if you kind of like rush through it, always like the next thing, I don't know. I think it tends to get forgotten and be like, oh, yeah. And we'll catch up with you eventually in some way.
Well, and let me tell you, because the way I've lived in both of them, right? There are seasons where I'm like, okay, go. And then other times where it's like, I am celebrating everything. It's new and exciting, all that.
Yes.
When I can celebrate, every step is more fun. And what you're saying, it anchors it in. And it doesn't have to be, because at one point I think, oh, celebrate. How am I going to celebrate? Is it going to get a massage? Is it going on a trip? Because celebrate. I mean, I hear celebrate. Let's go big. We're going to go on a trip overseas.
We're love that. Things, right? Yes. When we celebrate, we go big. I love it. Yes, I'm up for it.
I know. So let's do it. And we can celebrate every day in the small things. If you cross your top 3 must-dos off the list, awesome. There was one time my coach we were on a call and she's like, okay, so how are you going to celebrate? Something that I just completed. I'm like, and I turn on a YouTube video and we literally over Zoom are dancing to Kool and the Gang. And we're just sitting there. Yes, celebrate. We're going to celebrate and have a good time, right? Yes. See, we're jamming right now.
Yes.
Even
I love that. Yeah.
Even that small pause.
It doesn't we have to like detach ourselves from like all like celebrating has to be something material. Like, it does not. It does not. It can be any part. It can be anything from your self-care repertoire that makes you feel good. Yeah. Doesn't have to be material at all.
No. I have a diner bell, little ding on my desk. Mm-hmm. And so when I accomplish something on my task, ding it.
Well, I love that. It's like in the pubs when you get a big tip, they ring the bell.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. I should do that too. We're going to ring the bell. Like, yeah. Well done, Jennifer. Good. I'm going to ring the bell.
Yeah. Because when those are, when we like attract and like ignite those great endorphins, those feel goods, it's going to say, oh, okay, it's like your brain's saying, oh, okay, that was good. We want more. We'll find more, and it just really helped me continue to celebrate and find all those things. Keep me excited to go on to the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, and I kind of like want to circle back for like quickly too, because I feel there are like some people who get it and some people who like, why is that hard? Like when you said like hardest thing was like sending out an email to like your friends and family and extended friend lists and so on. Yeah. The hard part, like some people will be like, well, but why was it hard to send that to your friends and family? Like what? And then the other half, like me, it was like, man, that's the hardest fucking thing in the world. Right? And I remember when I started my business, like I'd rather put up Facebook ads than actually telling everyone in my network what I'm doing. Just because like, I don't know, it felt safer. Yeah. And I also did like the worst case, like what could happen, worst case scenario. And like, yeah, the worst thing is that they could book me. But then my mind is a devious one. And she was like, well, that's not actually the worst thing that could happen. The worst thing that could happen is like, I don't know, what was it at the time? It was like something along the lines of like, they'll think you'll be like, you're a fraud, or they think like, oh, why is she not successful that she has to like ring up family and friends and like, I don't know, all these kind of like bullshit stories. Until I was like, no, okay, but thank you, brain, but we're letting someone else like drive now for now. It's okay. Yeah. I think it's so interesting, right? Like that the closer people are to us, the harder it feels for some of us. And for others, it's exactly the opposite. They're like, yeah, sure. Like they're so used to kind of like fall back on their network, on their communities, and without any shame or fear of shame or fear of being shamed or fear of being ridiculed or like, I don't know, repercussions or whatever. And then the other hand is just like, I'd rather like talk to a stranger on the street and actually ring up the people I've worked with.
Well, and I think some of that it's taking practice. So yeah, you say there's people out there that might not be bothered by that. I'm like, how would they not have been bothered by that email? Because that was like, sorry, you mean there's people that don't think like that? And as I've grown my business and done these things and becoming more confident, just not even confident in my business, even just confident in owning who I am, that now I don't have now those things aren't scary. Like I can go into my networking group and tell them about something. And I was telling one of them about, something that I was doing online and like building these funnels and all stuff. Like this stuff is like so overwhelming, yet it's so exciting. There's these cool things. And like I started talking about, they're like, I want to hire you. I want you to teach me. And I'm like, okay, absolutely. Had I ever taught anyone before? No. But my excitement about it was contagious.
Lit up and
in the belief. Yeah. And they're like, yes, let's do it. And so now I have something new that I'm teaching and coaching. Now, 10 years ago, I would have probably even 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh, cool. Well, so I can send you some names of people that I think could help you. And sheepishly kind of turn my back away, like, it's good to see you. See you at the next meeting, right? And now I'm like, awesome, let's do this. I want to help you grow too, and I think it just, I just am excited about life again. I'm excited about what I'm doing with my time and how I can spend my time because I'm priced right to be able to create great opportunities for the people that I'm working with, be able to put money in my account, to be able to go and take my kids on amazing trips, right? My life, like you said, there's light and dark. Is there always dark? Absolutely. And I am loving all the light. And when we can share that and have that enthusiasm, it attracts more like that. So if listeners would be feeling like, gosh, just everything around me is just so negative and it's, there's just no one that's positive about things and feels like they're all thinking about the worst. I would challenge them to think about how they're showing up because energies match energy. Yeah. And if they really want to have something positive, they want more in their life, we get to believe it. We get to show up and elevate and increase our frequencies because happy people, abundance people, they want to be around other people like that. And so, we all have down times. We all have moments where we're feeling bad, depressed. So I'm not saying that. I'm not.
No, it's not about toxic,
happy,
positivity or anything like that. But I mean, I always I always kind of like also see it like that. Like if you're going through something, even if it's something, I don't know, not really like life or death, right? Like, I don't know. You said you want to start running. Okay, fair enough. Will never be me. But anyway. Like,
that's not a good description.
No, but it came to mind. I'm like, wait, what is that? Like, what is my unconscious want to tell me?
That shut up.
But like, so if you want to start running, and probably the first couple of times will be hard as fuck, and you're not really liking it, and you don't really want to do it. But like, you can either run and mope while you run, and like curse and hate your life, or be actually like, I'm just gonna run, just gonna focus on like my body and my muscles and breathing and see how I feel, right? Like you don't have to be, oh, I love running while you run. You just like, okay, if I can't go to positive, I can go into neutral. And neutral is just be. I can just see and observe that, I don't know, it's getting harder to breathe. Getting easier to breathe. I don't know. What is the road doing ahead of me? How are my muscles feeling? Are my legs tired? That's neutral or like conscious. And then I think like, okay, like if you curse yourself while running, will it make it easier?
Right.
Like, will it really? Like,
no, not at all.
No. I mean, there are times when cursing something or someone does help. It's very therapeutic. But like, I don't know. I'm always thinking like, it's not going to help you if you just keep on seeing, like, I don't know, being a negative Nancy, if you want to put it like that. Yeah. And just be like, maybe try something new. And if you can't be like Sunshine Susan, I'm just making shit up now. But then just
I like Sunshine Susan.
It's Sunshine Susan. Then just go into like neutral mode and just be and observe without good, bad feelings, whatever.
Yep. And I don't know about you, but when I can then shift into that neutral, then it's so much easier to find the ways to be even the Sunshine Susan and even sober. So in my attempts of, when I'd be like, I think I'm going to start running, which I have a couple times in my life. And I would easily be like, this is the dumbest thing. Why did I decide to do this? This hurt, all that. Right. So then we shift neutral. All right. I'm just so glad that my body is moving, and going. And then I would set small.
Or you can also shift into gratitude and be like, hey,
absolutely.
Okay, I don't know. I can still, hey, who knew that my body can still run that long? Even if I just 100 yards, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh no, I would set goals of running to the next stop sign, or I'm going to get to 3 mailboxes. Awesome. I just ran 3 mailboxes. Man, I didn't know my legs could even move that fast, or whatever. Like, yeah, it just kind of becomes so. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. But that's a key word, right? Like gamification. And I feel that's also like one of the key success rules or key success mindsets in business, right? You have to see it as a game, and not in the sense of like, oh, I'm not attached, I don't like, but in the sense of like curiosity and imagination, and be like, let's just see what happens. Let's have some fun. Let's just see where this goes. And yes, we were all high achievers or current high achievers, so we want to win. But like, there is no winning, but the business itself, the journey itself, right? There's no end goal unless it's literally the end, which we don't want to go there yet. We still have things to do.
We still have lots of journey.
Yeah, yeah. We still have fun things to do. So yeah, I don't know. I feel it's always kind of like really interesting to have these conversations. And
well, and I love that you say like approaching it with curiosity, because I think I love that, because there are things like, when that email that I sent that seemed so scary. Well, could I have switched even just then? Like, is this scary? Or maybe in my mind, I'm like, you know what? This is going to be fun to see how many people respond, right?
Yeah.
Already just saying that sure feels a whole lot better. Like, oh my goodness, I'm so scared. This is so scary. I sent out this email. What if, wow, this is going to be fun. Let's see how many people encourage me. Let's see how many people congratulate.
Yeah.
Let's see how many are interested in booking a session, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like, ooh, now this is fun. It's curious. We want to do it. Whatever the results are, but we're curious to know. Yeah.
Yeah, but it and it applies to everything, right? Like, let's say you wrote one of those Instagram posts that you're like really proud of because they were so great, and like, I don't know, you got like 3 likes, and you're like, awesome. Like, what you could do is kind of like, you could like be like, yeah, like, or you could just say, okay, I really like this post. Okay, like, what can I do? What do I need to change? Maybe I have to write like a more catching headline to the post, or I need a different visual, or it needs to be a reel, or whatever. And just kind of like come from like curious, or I don't know, you can also approach it in like a curiosity, adventure, discovery, scientific kind of way, and just be like, oh, okay, this didn't work. How can I make it work? Yeah, I'm going to try something else. Or an offer. Okay, that offer didn't fly. Maybe it needs a different title, or maybe it needs another price point, or maybe the messaging was wrong. Like, just trying out different things in a neutral mode without your brain coming in with all these stories of you're not good enough or me.
Yes, absolutely.
So like trying different things and stuff. Like, tell me about a time in your business where you're like truly fucked up. Do you have one mistake where you're like,
well, I lost images from a session. So I do photography. I
hope it wasn't a winning.
No, thank goodness. And I honestly, for the longest time, I never wanted to do weddings because I'm like, what if? Like, that was my biggest story. Because like, you can't recreate that day.
I so get that. I would be like, I would go completely nuts and have like, I don't know, 4 different backup like batteries, whatever. Like,
yeah, yep. When we shot weddings, because we do some destination weddings too. So when we shot one in Mexico, we bought new hard drives, and before we left Mexico, we were on the same plane, myself and my second shooter, but then we also were prepared to send hard drives home via the mail, but because of everything down there, we weren't able to. So we sent it with another family member that was on a different plane. So that way we're like, just in case.
If we die, the photos don't make it.
If we die, you're still going to have your memories. By golly. So
I love it. Okay. Yeah.
We're preparing.
I get it. That's my level of commitment too. I get it. Okay, but what was the biggest? So you kind of you lost the pictures of the session.
I lost them, and I was just sick. Like, how in the world? And thankfully they were just so gracious. I offered to do a reshoot. We came up with things. I'm like, I will do whatever we can to make this right. And so we went ahead and we did another session. They were completely like, it's fine. It's no big deal. I'm like, it's not. I appreciate, you're compassionate with this and it's not okay, and we'll be taking steps to make sure that we don't, so now there's new processes in place. So it's like, that was a really awful thing that happened, and I hated it so bad. And now what do we do? Right? Yeah. Now what? Okay. What
is kind of like the hidden learning in that, so we can take something good out of this?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And so now there's new systems in place that they come on, they get downloaded, they stay on a card, and they stay in the storage thing that I have filed named, and they don't come off of that until I actually deliver it. Right. So we figure these things out. It probably would have taken me a little bit longer before I decided to do that, but that happened. And so now we have a better system.
Yeah. And there are probably also people who say like, oh, that's way too much. You can just upload it to a cloud, whatever. Like, I don't know, whatever makes you sleep at night. Like,
right.
It kind of gets your business, whatever. It helps you sleep at night. Like, that's not going to drive you insane at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, how do you like measure like progress and success now? Or has it shifted when you, I don't know, start? I mean, when you start, obviously it has shifted when you were a stay-at-home mom and now that you have your own business, I suppose. But during your time, during your 12 years now, how's like how you define success or making progress in your business, has that shifted?
Yeah, because for like the first 6 years, I didn't define any success. Like I was literally just kind of going through emotions. Okay, I mean, I ended up spending about 10 years in court, so there was a lot of mental energy that was just wow. So like the first many years, it's like, well, whoever comes my way and wants me to take pictures, awesome. Yeah. I made some money, awesome. Wasn't tracking it. I started tracking it, and that's when things changed. And so it was understanding what your cost of doing business was, which I was over 5 years in before I did that. And then I realized I really wasn't making money. So let's change that, right?
So you were earning money while you were losing money while you were taking photos, or
by the time I was done, I might as well have been paying them to go out and do it. It's like there's lots of costs. There's lots of I could have flipped burgers. I could have flipped burgers for better than that, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. But in most of my adult life, I didn't handle the finances. I didn't know any of those things. I just, I didn't have that learning experience. And so at 35, I'm trying to figure out, where's our insurance? How much is it? Who do I pay? Like the very basics. And then cost of doing business, what's that? Okay. So then I finally figured out, and I remember even audibly, as I put all the stuff together, audibly saying out loud, and I'm like, oh, that's why photographers charge $75 for a 8x10 print, right? Because I'm like, oh, yeah, there's a lot more to it. I don't get to keep that $400 that they paid me. Far from it. And so doing that and then tracking it. Yeah. Having my goals. What is my goal for the year? Breaking it down into monthly goals. All right. What does that look like? If my monthly goal is $50,000, how many sessions do I need to do? If my goal is $500, what do I need to bring in? Right. So it's the things, trying to break it down and make it manageable, because sometimes when you're looking at big numbers, I never thought I would be able to generate $100,000 in business. That seemed like such big dreaming when I was, making $10,000. Well, what does $100,000 look like? Divide it by 12. Now, what does that look like per month? Okay. How many sessions? What kind?
Yeah. Like really bringing it down. Yeah.
So if I charge it, $3,000, I only need 3 sessions a month. That's
if I charge $50, I need a hell of a lot more sessions.
Right. Yeah. I'm not doing anything. I'm not sleeping. I'm not getting my kids anywhere because we don't have any time. So once we get that, now there's that excitement that backs it up. And it's like, okay, this is achievable, doable. I can do this. Yeah. And then my excitement, just it relates and I'm able to share it with other people. And then I'm getting those bookings. So
I'm curious. That's probably like really interesting for anyone listening in who is a service provider in their very early or their earlier years. Because I mean, you're a photographer, creative service provider. I come from brand strategy and design, also loads of creative space. And I know I have several I mostly work with creative service providers because we're awesome. We have vision. We have
heck yeah, we do.
Yeah, we're good. We're awesome. So, but we always kind of have hard fake pricing, I feel, right? Because we have that voice in our heads of oh, my grandma has a camera too. She can also take the wedding pictures. Sure, you go do that, right? We know we're now like, yeah, okay, sure. Let grandma do that. And then we'll see. Right. Like, I mean, every time I hear now saying someone like, oh, I'm just going to get like a logo designer from like Upwork. And like, you do that. You go, like, whatever.
Yeah.
And then more often than not, they come back like 3 months later, be like, and can you please fix this? I'm like, no, sorry, I cannot.
But I'd like be happy to start from scratch.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about like the $50 you lost on Upwork. But how do we go about, like, how did you go about this? Right. Like how to actually get a pricing as a creative service provider that is allowing you to live the life you want.
Sure.
How did you go about that? Because I feel this is really important information for someone or important mind flips for someone who's early in their journey versus to you where you're like, you're a veteran.
Have you heard of the book Profit First?
Yes. I have it in my bookshelf. It has a lot of like the core concept. I love it. I couldn't apply all of it because like our Europe system is different than the US system. But the core thing of like putting everything into buckets and things. Yes. Love it.
Yes. Yeah. That was the game changer for me was because when you can see, okay, so, that's so exciting. I got $500 for that session. Awesome. When you immediately, which not immediately. So, but I was early on doing it after every session because they might've been sporadic sessions, right? Well, now it's twice a month that you pull the money out and put it into all these buckets. So all the money goes into one income account, that your checking account, $500 for this session, $3,000 for another, all of it's in there. It's like, oh, had a $10,000 a month. Awesome. Okay. Well, now let's divide it. Right. And now we divide out the tax.
Yeah.
What portion of that
and the retirement bucket and like the healthcare bucket and like,
and
I actually did some bucket.
I know. And now I'm like, oh, here's the what I really earned bucket. I'm like, okay, well, cool. I want more than that. Now what?
50 cents. Love it.
Yeah.
Love this for me.
Yeah. And that, all of my students that I work with, that's what we start at the very base of the groundwork of setting these things up, getting it ready. Because it shifted. That was a huge game changer for me in my business and how I treated things. I'm like, okay, no, if I actually want to have a real business, something sustainable that I can do full time forever, then that's what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to generate more money. So that really helped me with that mindset of, it seems like I shifting from I think sometimes, at least for me, it was like, I would view it as a client's perspective. Like, like what we're talking about with the family. So, are you crazy? $500 just for pictures to shoot an hour must be nice. I want to be a photographer too. I should go get a camera. Right. So those are things that would kind of be in my head. But when you look at it, those are just facts on the paper now. There's
you have prep work, you have like afterward, like where you edit, you have post-production, like
So you take all those hours and then divide it up, just not with the $500, because you get to divide those hours up based on your one bucket of $170. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's a lot of work for only $170. Yeah, I know I'm worth more. And so those are the things that really help me understand and be like, yep, game on, we're switching this and we're leveling up.
Yeah. And that's like such a universal truth, right? Like you always have to face what is, right? Like whether that's your finances or it's you want to improve your website. You got to first look like what is working and what is not. If you start with like having a review or like an audit, like what is working, what is not working. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like, it goes for your finances too, where you're like, oh, actually, okay, so this is it. This is what it is. And then I feel like the important part is coming to like, again, be in the neutral state about it. These are just the numbers. They're not good or bad. They don't say anything about you. It's just, what is your brain, or what are parts of you telling or make these numbers mean? What are the stories that are playing, right? Like, oh, who are you to charge me? Yes, not the numbers. It's not the numbers. That's kind of like a part of your narrative of your story.
Yeah. And that's where I've done a lot of work over the years of just shifting those narratives, right? Oh, because you're right. It's like, oh yeah, who am I to? Well, you know what? Who am I not to? So that's kind of like, who am I to do that? Well, who am I not to? Let's go. Let's figure out how we can still support and serve my clients in a way that supports and serves my family and the things that we want to do and the dreams. And I like the neutral concept because it removes any guilt and shame looking at the stuff, because you can look at those numbers and be like, oh my goodness, such an idiot. How did I not? I didn't understand that. Like you can go that route.
Yes. Or my favorite route. I should have known. I can hear. Oh, sorry. No, work. Okay. Sorry. I have some mic issues. My editor really will cut this back again. Yeah. Okay. I got a new mic, but it seems weird. I don't know. The cable already is wonky. So thanks for that. Oh, shigaloo Yeti. Anyway, Lily will cut this out. Or we'll leave it in just for the fun of it. I don't care.
Thanks, Lily.
Yeah. Thanks, Lily. Or we'll leave it in. It's up to you, Lily. No.
So what was it? What was your favorite?
Yeah. My favorite root of like trashy self-talk is you should have known better.
Oh, yes. I would say should equals shame. So just take that should out of your vocabulary.
Oh God, yes. Like like this just should as fast as you can. Anyway, pause.
Don't shut on yourself.
Shut on yourself. Oh, I love this. Yeah. I didn't want to have this on a coffee mug. Don't shut on yourself. Yeah, which is so true, right? Like it's all those I should have known better. I should have seen it coming. I should be further ahead than I am. Blah, blah, blah. It's all kind of like based on some kind of comparison of where you are now between, I don't know, some idealistic version of whatever. It's like, there's no winning. There's no winning this game. No.
We win when we give ourselves grace.
This is very true. Like, I'm curious, like, I'm glad you touched upon, like, you did a lot of work and, like, let's also call it healing, I suppose, to stay in business. Right? And what were the biggest stories that you were like, I'm curious. I don't know why I kept that, like, keep on playing. What's like, what, I don't know. I feel like everyone who's in entrepreneurship, is not expecting that they have to deal with so much personal shit and like heal so much personal shit. And like, what was like one of the shits you had to heal yourself from to be like, to have like a thriving business?
Really, it was believing in myself. I was capable.
Yeah.
That I was smart enough to do it. There were a lot of opportunities growing when I was young that it was like, man, the world's my oyster. I can do it all. And at some point that shifted to, I'm just a mom. What can a mom do? I'm not smart enough. I'm not capable enough to do that. And I was always taken care of in our marriage and wonderfully. And, from a financial standpoint, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the lessons that people would learn in their young adult lives about money, about running things, right? I didn't. And so it was easy for me to kind of wallow in that of who am I to think that I could do that? And really just, and that's where the action, when we take action breeds confidence. And for me, it was those very small actions to start with, because even those small ones felt very overwhelming.
You have to start really, really, really small. Otherwise you will not, you will either not do it at all, or you'll push through on like that push energy that will only sustain you for like, I don't know, a week, a month, whatever. And then you kind of like burn out. Yeah. And it's so interesting, right? Like whenever, like, I mean, all of my guests on the City Root podcast so far have been women or have grown up or identified themselves as women. It's so funny, right? Like that we're getting told this thing of like, or you're just a mom, right? And I mean, we're getting it told or prepared so much that we started to actually believe it ourselves. And like, oh man, if I could shift this narrative of like, God, your body has given birth to it has grown 3 human beings. This is like fucking amazing. And you're like, really 3 under 4. It's like, you're like, as I said, you're like a cross between like a saint and like superwoman. Like it's insane, right? Like, and then still we're like, oh, I'm just a mom. I haven't done anything that's like that is perceived as a success and like the real world outside of my home, blah, blah. And like, I so hate it. Like, I'm like so fucking done.
Well, and as you say that, though, I'm reliving and thinking about those times when I was just a mom.
Yeah.
And they fill me with such joy. And I think sometimes that's where we can kind of just sit back and be like, what is the success for you?
Yeah.
If it is financial success, if it is, wanting to, but whatever that is, find the joy in it.
Yes.
When I was just a mom, I'm like, those are some of my happiest memories with the kids, doing these fun little things and setting up concession stands where you'd have movie nights and I'd have snacks, how much they cost. And I'd give all the kids coins and they'd have to pay me for the snacks. And, I'm like, I loved all of that. Loved it all. And so
got to copy that idea.
I'm the joke. Yes, I absolutely. I guess if you travel, one other thing that we did when they were kids is that we were on long road trips. I took a piece of masking tape from the back of the car to the front of the car, our van. And then I made lines for every cross state line. And then I had a little matchbox car that I Velcroed to the top of our car. And every time I'd keep moving it. So when it was like, are we there yet? I'd be like, look, this is where we are. Oh,
this is such a cool visual.
It was.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we'd celebrate. We'd celebrate with a snack or a little Dollar Tree toy at every state line when we were going somewhere. So yeah, those things were fun to me. They were so fun to me. And now in that moment when I transitioned, I'm thinking, I can't do this. I can't run a business because I was learning these things about finances and I was learning, what is compound interest? How do you save? What is tax? How much do I need to put aside for taxes? All this stuff. I would kind of want to run those negative narratives again. Like, I can't believe I'm 35 and starting over and I don't even know how to do any of it.
I should know.
I should have known this.
You were shooting yourself.
I absolutely was. And you know what? What switched is I'm like, this is so cool because I'm learning at a very beginner level so late in life at 35. I'm like, I get to teach my kids. I get to bring them along on this journey and share the excitement because it's new and exciting to me that I get to learn it. I don't know if I would have learned it at 20, how easily accessible or how I would have translated it to my kids, right? We don't know, but I do know I'm doing a heck of a lot with them now because I'm learning at this point in my journey. And
and they
encourage
you
them
doing that.
Oh,
right. Like,
absolutely. I'm like, be an entrepreneur. What do you want to do? What excites you? Let's find something. My youngest, we've gone through 3 different things that he's been interested in. I'm like, okay, you want to do this? All right, let's open up an Instagram account. Then here, what do you need to do? What tools do you need? Let's do it. I'm encouraging it. Now, I am very excited when he finds the thing that really lights him up that he wants to stick with. We haven't found that yet, but he's working through it, right? I'm like, this is great practice. And he's like, okay, Mom. So I need a $1,000 computer. I need this. I need that. So I said, no, you don't, because you don't have any resources. So you're using, and like explaining these things. Yeah. Like, it's so, as a mom, I couldn't be more proud in the financial aspect of things when talking to the kids, because they bring their paychecks to me. They've been working since they were 12. And as they bring them to me, they're now in the habit. I say, hey, all right, here's your check. They're like, okay. I said, well, this is $120. What do you want to do with it? And they'll say, I want 50 in spending money. I want 50 in long term, and I want 20 in short term. I'm like, you're going to get this. Whatever legacy their dad and I are able to leave for them, they are going to be wise with it. They're going to be able to make more fruitful and multiply it, to serve more, to impact more, to be able to, whatever their mission is in life and how they want to help and serve and give back to the community. They're going to have even more to do it because we're teaching them.
Yes, absolutely. So, right, like they don't do as we say, they do as we do, right? Like they model, and I mean, sometimes that's very hard to say. But yeah, I love that, and like, I don't know, we're having a similar thing with like the pocket money. It's like, oh, okay, you have like, I don't know, you get $5. So $1 is for you, $1 is for the bank savings account, $1 is like for the holiday fund money, and like $1 is for charity. Yeah. So then you can bring, I don't know, every year before Christmas, you can like pick out charity and give them the money to kind of like know, okay, this is what's kind of requested. But like, circling back on what you said, with like some of your happiest memories were when you look back on when you were a mom, like just the mom bit. And I feel that's such a good thought to close our conversation. I want to circle back to that. It doesn't matter, right? Like how everyone on your outside defines success, right? Like if you want to be a stay-at-home mom and find joy in that, then please be a stay-at-home mom. If you find joy in corporate, then please stay in corporate. Don't become an entrepreneur, right? Like
it's not for everybody. It's not for the weak heart.
Oh God, no. But right, like it doesn't matter, right? Like if if you know you're good at this, it lights you up, you want to do this, then go be it, regardless of whatever kind of weird, arbitrary success parameters are placed in something. Screw that. Ooh, Heather, it was such a blessing to have you here on the Scenic Route podcast.
I kind of loved it.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like we could do another hour, but we probably another time. So, let us know where people can find you online, where you hang out. Is it Instagram? Yeah. I suppose photographers hang out on Instagram.
Yep, Instagram and Facebook is where I'm at for that. I specialize in high school seniors, so a lot on Instagram. On Instagram it's Sweet Lemonade Photo, and and Facebook is Sweet Lemonade Photography. And then for my coaching side, where I help photographers grow their businesses, I've got a group called Freedom for Photographers, and that's on Facebook as well. And
perfect.
Then there's even the website. So sweetlemonadephotography.com. You'll hit everything there because it's got my seniors, my corporate, and also a link to all the coaching things that I've got going on too.
Love it. Okay. Yeah. So please check out Heather. Heather, thank you so much for being with me on a Scenic Route podcast. It was a blast.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
And just like that, we've reached the end of another journey together on the Scenic Route podcast. Thank you for spending time with us. Curious for more stories or in search of the resources mentioned in today's episode? Visit us at scenicroutepodcast.com for everything you need. And if you're ready to embrace your scenic route, I've got something special for you. Step off the beaten path with my Scenic Route affirmation card deck. It's crafted for those moments when you're seeking courage, yearning to trust your inner voice, and eager to carve out a path authentically, unmistakably yours. Pick your Scenic Route affirmation today and let it support you. Excited about where your journey might lead? I certainly am. Remember, the Scenic Route is not just about a destination, but the experiences, learnings, and joy we discover along the way. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on the Scenic Route again.